Hey, what's up guys? My name is Corbin, and today we're going to be going over how to record audio, and then furthermore, how to edit the audio that you've recorded, whether it's recorded with a nice microphone, a crappy microphone, your phone microphone, or even just a gaming headset, something like that.
Hi, this is Editor Corbin coming back to talk after the fact. The microphone that I'm using here sounds awful. This is a microphone that was meant to be used with an aftermarket radio in my car. I thought it'd be perfect because it could clip onto my shirt. It was picking up my voice way too loud. So I just didn't set this microphone up properly in my DSLR camera. So I just want to get that out of the way. I'm saying that you can use any microphone, and really you can if you set it up right. I did not set this one up right. It was way too sensitive and it sounds like crap. Sorry about that. Back to the video.
There are three main factors that you have to go over: your environment, your equipment, and your software. So first we're going to go over the environment. First of all, you want to turn off any fans that you have around you, turn off any air conditioners, turn off any desk fans, anything that you can turn off and you can control about your environment, turn that off or get it out of there. Next, you want to pick a good area to record in. For example, a large echoey room with hardwood flooring might not be the best idea to record in. Ideally, you want to be in a room with a carpet and a textured ceiling, a room that doesn't have a lot of flat surfaces that can reflect the sound. Another key point is the chair that you're sitting in. You don't want to be standing up because you'll hear your foot move, or you might hear creaking of the floor, things like that. If you are sitting in a chair, that is ideal, but make sure that that chair is a quiet, stationary chair. You can see that I'm sitting in an office chair, and if I move around, you can hear that chair. So while you're sitting there recording the audio, you want to make sure that you're keeping your chair as still as possible, keeping yourself as still as possible in the chair as well. Next up, I'm going to go over the equipment that you're using to record the audio. Now, whether this is a crappy microphone, a phone microphone, gaming headset, or hell, if you have it, a Blue Yeti or some kind of studio microphone, anything will work as long as it's a decent enough quality that you can talk to somebody on the phone with it or over Discord and they can understand you. Now, first of all, if you're going to use a gaming headset, make sure that the microphone has a boom mic. So this is my gaming headset. This is also what I use to edit audio with. This headset is a Cougar Immersa Pro TI, and you can see it's got a little retractable boom microphone. You can move this around as you need it. When you're using the microphone, you want to make sure that it's not right up against your mouth like this. You want to make sure that it's somewhat below and away from your mouth. Ideally, you want to use the best microphone that you can. If your gaming headset doesn't have a good microphone, then your phone microphone is probably going to be your best bet. Now, when you're using your phone to record, you want to make sure that you're not holding it in your hand. So just pretend that I'm putting it on a table here. You want to make sure that your phone is maybe a foot away from your face and that you're speaking over it like this. You don't want to speak directly into it. That's going to be too loud for the microphone to handle. And although you speak into it when you're on the phone, it's not going to be very good quality for recording. Might sound just fine over the phone, but when you're recording audio, you want it to sound as good as possible. So you want to make sure that your phone is below you and at least a foot away from you. Make sure you put it on a table, that way you don't get any handling noise like clicking and shuffling around when you're holding it. Finally, when you're recording audio, no matter what microphone you're using, you want to make sure that you're leaving 5 seconds of blank, empty audio after you hit record and before you hit stop. So that means when you hit record, sit perfectly still, don't even breathe, just get a perfect ambiance of the room. That way we can use that for noise suppression later. Now, recording equipment doesn't just stop there. Once you get onto the computer, you're going to want a good pair of headphones or a good set of speakers. Now, a good pair of headphones for audio editing is a pair of headphones that does not color the audio in any way, or rather stylize it in any way. An example of headphones that stylize audio would be Skull Candy Crushers, like what you see here, Now, if you don't already know, Skullcandy Crushers have a huge bass boost to them because they have that haptic bass response driver in them. You want the flattest possible audio response for your headphones or speakers. Something like AirPods would actually be okay to use for audio listening, but not for audio recording. When you record audio over Bluetooth, the audio signal gets compressed heavily. That's because the Bluetooth radio in your headphones doesn't have enough bandwidth to both supply high quality audio to and from your headphones. This means that when it's sending audio and receiving audio, it has to compress it a lot. Because of this, you want to make sure that the microphone that you're using, if it's a gaming headset, you want to make sure that it's a wired connection and not a Bluetooth or otherwise wireless headset. If you have a nice audio receiver as well, like this one, and you have decent speakers to go along with it, then use that as well. If you don't have headphones, that is the next best thing. An audio receiver like this one isn't going to color or stylize the audio in any way if you don't tell it to. Make sure that the levels are as flat as possible. That means set your bass to 0, set your treble to 0, and make sure that it sounds flat. No bass boost, no treble boost, no mid boost. If you're going to use an audio receiver like this one, make sure that you use it in stereo mode as well, and not in surround sound mode. So with all of that out of the way, you're ready to record. So what are we going to do to record? Well, there are a couple of ways that you can do this. First, you can just use your phone voice memo app. It's something that's built into your phone, and it's made for your phone if it's built in. However, a better way to record audio is by using an external microphone by recording straight to Adobe Audition. I'm going to be using Adobe Audition 2020. Let's dive right in.
Alrighty, so go ahead and open Audition. And the first thing that we're going to cover is how to record in Audition. So the easiest way that I've found to record audio in Adobe Audition is by using the multi-track editor. So when you click on the multi-track button in the top left here, this little prompt is going to come up. So you can name it whatever you want. And here you have to choose up front where you want the file to save. So I'm just going to save it here. That's fine. And you want your bit depth to be 32. That's the highest possible quality. Sample rate is just fine. You don't really have to change that unless it's lower than 41,000. Your master should be stereo, and you can click OK. So now you're going to see this giant editor pop up. So what you want to do here is click on Default Stereo Input, go over to Stereo, and make sure that the proper headset or microphone or whatever you're using is selected. So now when you click on the R button, this is going to arm this track for recording. So I'm going to click it now. And now when I'm speaking, you can see that it's actually picking up the audio in the audio level dial right there. So now what I can do is, since this track is armed for record, that's what that R means, I can click on the record button and I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. And I'll click stop. And remember that you want to keep at least 5 seconds or so of blank audio at the end and the beginning. I didn't leave quite as much there. But now we can play that back, and I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. And that's that. By the way, I'm pressing the spacebar to play and pause. So that's our audio recording. Now, alright, it's pretty quiet. We have to go in and edit this now. So I'll get into that in just a minute. However, before I do that, I'm going to talk about how to import audio files that you've already recorded. Say you recorded from an external device like your phone or something, and you want to bring it in now. So all you have to do is locate your file. Say this is your audio file that you want to import. You can now click and drag this into this little window right here, into the empty space here. You drag it there and you'll see that the file name appears right there. So now we can click back into Adobe Audition. We're going to double click there and you'll see that your audio waveform appears. So I've already edited this one, so I'm not going to go through the process of editing this, but that's just how you import audio. Now that's how you import audio from a file. You can also import audio from Adobe Premiere. That's their video editing software. So clicking over into Premiere, you can see I have my timeline here. I have a couple of other monitors with all my other windows in it, but all that's important here is the timeline. So if I drag an unedited movie file in here, I'm going to zoom in, I can now right-click on the audio here, and towards the top you'll see Edit Clip in Adobe Audition. You can click that button, little dialog box, little loading screen will pop up, and then you can see the audio actually pops up right here. So now you can make your edits, so I'm just going to choose some random preset right here. So now, once you've done your edits for Premiere, you want to click Apply for the effects rack over here, and then you want to save it. So remember that if you're importing back into Premiere, you have got to save this, and then that's how it'll carry back over to Premiere. So now let's get to editing the audio. So I'm going to come back over to my multi-track, and now I've got my recording right here. You can see that it's actually appeared on the left here. So now you can double click on this recording that you just made, and you can see the waveform for it. By the way, this area down here is not open by default. This is just called the spectrogram. So what you can do to open that is there's this little icon up here, spectral frequency display. You can click on that if you'd like to see that. This is how loud each frequency is over time. So now let's play this back. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. Alright, so it sounds pretty okay. I have a decent enough microphone on my gaming headset. However, there's still some noise. You can see in specifically this region that when I'm not talking, there is actually still some waveform there, and we can see that even clearer in the spectral display. So what I'm going to do is highlight this area. This is the first thing that you want to do, and this is why we leave some room at the beginning and at the end of each recording. So you highlight the area, and this is going to be our noise print. So you're going to right click on the white area that you just highlighted, click on Capture Noise Print, and now it seems like nothing happened. That's because not a whole lot has happened. Now you're going to press Control A on your keyboard, or Command A if you're on Mac. It's the same thing. Now you can see that the entire clip is selected. So we'll go up to Effects, down to Noise Reduction / Restoration. And we've already captured the noise print. Now we can go into the noise reduction process. And we're applying this to the entire clip, which is why we had to do Control or Command A. So now, this is really not a window that we have to mess around with very much. It's pretty straightforward. You just wait for the window to open, you click Apply, and it'll do its thing. Now, you can see that all of that noise that was in here is gone. And that's also going to apply over your voice. So essentially what this has done is taken this sample of noise, and through some kind of magical algorithm, it has sampled all of that noise and gotten rid of that same frequency of noise throughout the entire clip. So if I undo, you can see there's all the noise, there's all this bright background noise. We don't need that. So now anything that is darker or black is empty. There's no noise there. So let's play it back. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. And that's actually really clean now. So the next thing that I'm going to do is adjust the volume. You can see the levels down here. This is the audio levels. We want this to be around the -3 to -1 range in terms of volume. So let's see where this falls right now. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms. So we're way too quiet right now. Here's what I'm going to do. On this little window right here, this is your effects rack. So what that means is all of these little tracks right here, these numbers, are all effects that will stack on top of each other that will affect your audio. When you're done with all of your effects, you can click Apply, and that'll apply it to your audio. However, it will also apply them in real time so that you can edit. So what we'll do is click on this arrow right here, and then we'll go to Amplitude and Compression. we're going to go to Hard Limiter. And essentially what this will do is apply a hard limit, just like it says in the name, to the volume of your clip. But what it can also do is boost the volume. So we're going to boost this up. We're right around, I believe it was in the -15 range. So recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up. Yeah, so we're right around -14 to -13, so we want to boost it by approximately that amount. I'm going to go a little bit lower, actually, at 11. So wherever your voice is kind of falling around here, boost it up by that same amount in the input boost. Next, what I'm going to do is change the maximum amplitude to approximately -1.5. You can do this to your liking, but we like to be between -3 and -1. I find that -1.5 works. The look-ahead time and release time, we really don't have to bother with those. And if you want to turn on and off the effect in real time, you can click on the power state button right here. That'll just turn off and on the effect. Alright, so now let's play it back. You're going to notice a huge volume increase. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. And look at that. It already sounds pretty good because it's a decent quality microphone. So now we can see that the volume level is good. It's falling right between -2 and -1 at its loudest, and it's not going any louder than -1.5. Perfect. Now we can close this window because we're done with it. So you can see now our effect is actually still there in the effects rack. So if we want to go back in and edit that, we can just double click. And you'll see it'll open that window again. So, effect number 2 that we're going to apply is actually a graphic equalizer. So we're going to use the graphic equalizer with 10 bands. All this means is there's more adjustability across frequencies. We don't really need a whole lot of adjustability because we're just adjusting for our voice. So what I'm going to do is click on this, and this window will open. And now you can adjust it to be close to mine. So I have a preset made here just so that it's easier in the future for me to use this. So since I have a male voice, this is what works for me. You can kind of match mine and adjust as needed to match your voice a little bit better. Just play with these frequencies. This is literally no different than an equalizer on your phone, in your music player. It works the same way. It's just a little bit more professional looking. So play with these, and remember that if you're increasing the volume of any of these, then you may have to turn down the master gain down here in order to match that volume. So I've increased this by quite a bit over here. So now let's see, without any change in the gain, how loud this actually becomes. And I can start recording audio. That's loud. That's really loud. That's clipping out over here, which is what these little indicators mean that are red. So now if I change this back to -6.7, then let's see where this falls. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. That's perfect. That's falling right where we want it to be. So now that I'm done with this, I'm going to click the X, and I just want to make it very clear that this whole process takes a lot of fiddling and a lot of playing around with settings until it sounds good. This is why you need a good quality set of headphones that isn't going to color up the audio or stylize the audio in any way, because you want to make sure that your voice sounds good on a normal pair of headphones. So the last step that I'm going to take is one that might not apply to everybody. However, it will apply to people that are, say, recording this in a dorm or in a room that has a lot of echo. We're going to remove the reverb, or at least we're going to attempt to, from your voice. So what is reverb? Reverb occurs when your voice travels across a room, bounces off the smooth, hard walls, and then comes back towards you and gets picked up by the microphone. So that's kind of an echo. So just to simulate what that sounds like, since my voice doesn't sound very echoey here, I'm going to play it back here. And I can start recording audio. So you can hear it sounds pretty sharp and crisp, but if we add reverb, this is just going to simulate what it might sound like in an echoey room. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. So you can hear that echo. if your voice sounds a little bit like that, maybe not as prominent, but even subtly, it's going to be noticeable by people, so you want to try and get rid of that. So I'm going to change this from reverb. I'm going to go over to noise reduction and restoration again, and then I'm going to go to de-reverb. So what we can do here is actually very simple. What this will do is, based on the amount that you give it here, it's going to reduce the reverb that's being picked up by the microphone. It's going to do its best job to do that. Sometimes it's not successful, sometimes it is. This is really hit or miss, but it really helps if you're having a lot of problems with echo in your recording. So feel free to give this a try. Luckily my recording doesn't seem like it needs that, so I'm going to skip this, but by all means play with this, have fun, and it's going to just take a lot of fiddling around, like I said. So to get rid of an effect, I'm going to click delete on my keyboard, and it just gets rid of it. Alrighty, so now is the most important step. We have to export our audio. There are a couple of things that we have to do first. First of all, we can get rid of this empty space at the beginning and end of our recording. So all you need to do for that is, just like before, select that empty area, but now you're going to click delete on your keyboard. So since this is still in our multi-track session, we can just click OK. That's what this is referring to. Just because we recorded it over here, we can just click OK and not have to worry about that. And I'll do the same thing at the end. Click delete, click OK. And now we've got only our voice. Let's play it back one more time. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. And I can start and that's that. So now we have to click apply in order to apply these settings. However, if you're going to do multiple voiceovers, you don't want to have to do all of these steps over and over again. So what you can do is click on this little down arrow. It's going to save your settings. So you click that, you name it whatever, and then you can click OK. And now in your list of presets, it's going to pop up here, and you can just click on this and it's going to call back all of these settings. It's really a useful tool if you're going to use the same microphone for the same voice, be it your own voice or somebody else's voice, multiple times. Now, I've got that saved, so I'm going to click apply. Now you can see that the waveform itself has actually changed. That's because these effects are gone. They're now implemented permanently into the waveform. Finally, we can export this. What I'm going to do is click on File, come on down to Export, and then we can click on File. Name it whatever, and you can choose where to save this. I'm just going to save it to my desktop for now. And you want to make sure that you're saving this as a WAV file. That's the WAV PCM or .wav file format. This is an uncompressed format. That means that it's going to retain all of the audio fidelity that you recorded. Now we can see that it says WAV uncompressed here. It says 32-bit floating point, which is good. Those are the settings that we want to see. Now we can click OK, and just like that, it's saved. Now if we go over to our desktop, you can see the test file right there. And I can start recording audio, and you can see the waveforms start to pop up right there. And that's our file right there. So that's perfect. So now you can take this and drag it into Premiere or After Effects or whatever you have to do with it. From here, that audio file is done. So I hope that this walkthrough has been helpful for you. If you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments below. Or if you're in my class, you can simply message me on Slack or whatever service we're using. Thanks a ton for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.